Hit it one time, then I'm out. Hit it one time, then you're out.
Why don't you bring your girlfriend? Oh, she eyes me down excitedly.
Smash, smash, smash.
I guess I've never really had kind of a relationship with my body and with my body, like especially regarding food, that's positive. Because it was either just I was unaware or I was aware and the awareness was negative.
But I was always the tallest girl in my class. So that always had something to do, I think, with my body image. And also when I started developing breasts, I always, you know, they were big. And now they're very big. And they've always been big. And they've always been obnoxious and in the way. And I've never appreciated them because they're, in my mind, they're just sacks of flesh on my body that do nothing but impede me from doing the things I want to do.
I got my period pretty early compared to like all my other girlfriends. And so like my body started changing like a lot more than everybody else's. And so I like, especially like I gained like a good amount of weight compared to everybody else, and it made me really self-conscious in middle school. Although like now that I'll look back at it now and I'm like, I was totally normal, but like in my mind it was such a big change compared to everybody else. Like I started getting boobs and like legs, like actual thighs, not like chicken legs, you know, and stuff like that. And so I kind of had this weird relationship with my body where I was really self-conscious about like showing skin.
Growing up, I did not like how I looked. Like I was always told like, oh, you're too chubby or you're too big, you know, like always hearing things from like parents and family like, oh, you need to stop eating and da 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 da. But it was more like honestly, I want to say right like at the tail end of COVID, that was basically when like my confidence started growing. Like I started watching more Lizzo and stuff like that, and I like confidence in general definitely like it boosted more. Like I thought more about like, well, my body is my body. It's like something that's a tool. Like it doesn't matter what it looks like, as long as I'm healthy, I'm good, you know.
I think a large part of eating that I think about the most is like when I'm eating with other people. Going out and eating with other people, whether it be with like my family or like strangers, because there have been times where my parents have commented on how I eat. My dad jokes that I eat like a snake because I barely chew.
The baggier the better when it came to like shorts, but the shorts would hang down to like my below my knees, and I liked that because it kind of, I felt like it proportionalized me because I was so tall. It kind of made me feel a little bit more short. Like it made me feel like I had like a warm hug around me with like big baggy clothes all the time. I never really showed off my body or anything like that, and didn't care to.
I think I was really like, oh, like I need to be skinnier, and like all my other friends were like really tiny at the time because they hadn't hit puberty, I like always thought about like, oh, I need to like do these workouts to like I have like, you know, like love handles, like I need to like, you know, get rid of those. I need to be more fit and skinny. And I always just kept thinking, it was almost like compulsive.
When social media became this big thing in my life, that mainly happened when I moved. When that became such a big thing, at first it was like, oh, look at all these skinny bodies, look at all these like really pretty people. But then after like seeing specifically like black women or just women in general with like bigger plus size bodies and feeling comfortable with themselves, it was just sort of like, I felt better about myself.
It's all the time. It's whenever I get hungry, you know, obviously like I'm wanting to eat, I'm thinking about eating, but then there's always kind of like a shame that comes with hunger, especially if I've like already like eaten that day or something. It's always kind of like, wow, I really like want this, I want to eat something. Like that's kind of crazy.
I kind of don't like the idea of exercising in front of people because I get really self-conscious, especially when it comes to like people who have been going to the gym for years. It's like, oh, if they see someone like me here, like what would they think? And even though I acknowledge that it's silly, it's like I just don't see myself like wanting to join a gym at all.
I would beat myself up about it, and I'd cry, and I'd be upset. Why did I do that? I can't believe I ate that, and what's wrong with me? How come I can't control what I put in my mouth? And you know what I mean? Like I would binge, and then I would binge and binge and binge because I couldn't get myself out of the spinning cycle of blaming myself for eating whatever it was I ate. Let's just say it's a candy bar. And then it would spiral into me eating another one and another one and another one and another one, instead of just saying, okay, you ate the candy bar, forgive yourself, move on, which is what I do now. And it's much more healthy. I'm not like a perfect eater, but I have a much happier mind.
So my grandma, she's extremely anorexic and she always has been. Like so skinny, like skinny, scary skinny. And like she's an extreme example of anorexia. And so seeing her be so like mentally ill and like in this state, like reminds me that I don't want to get to that point.
Things like confidence, things like being loved, things like being desirable are so like firmly entrenched like right next to thinking about my body that it's just like I'm not sure if I'm ever gonna be able to like fully pull the two apart.
I guess it's just harder being bigger, essentially, especially with like an Asian family. And I know that like even for like my Asian friends who aren't as big as me, they still receive those kinds of comments. Like again, the dynamic is like kind of crazy, like East Asian, Southeast Asian, South Asian, like whatever. It's like, and it annoys them too.
Dating wise, I think that's more of a concern. Like they've heard horror stories from bigger girls of being like, yeah, like he didn't introduce me to his family because like he felt uncomfortable showing me, or he felt embarrassed that he was into like bigger women, you know. I like, in hearing those, I'm like, oh my god, no. Like I don't ever want to be in a situation where I'm dating someone and they're not who they fully are. They feel like they need to hide me because I'm bigger.
Then by the time I got to be my 30s, I started to accept it all and started to realize like this is my body. I started to love and appreciate and recognize that every girl I had met along the way always had issues with their body. They always thought they were too big or too little or too skinny or too fat, or boobs were the wrong shape, or it was always something. Everyone has something.
There's a lot of people who feel very who feel insecure about themselves, and talking to like not just like a therapist, but to other people about it will help you see how, like, it kind of helps you like clear the lens a little bit.
I have online friends, and a lot of them also struggle with like body image and weight, and so I have to remind myself like there are people on the same boat as me.
I don't think I have met a girl that has not told me that she has some kind of problems with body dysmorphia, body image, eating disorders, eating issues, kind of unhealthy eating habits. I have not met a girl who has not said something about that.